Hey y'all, sorry for the delay. I believe the pixelation now is resolved. It should be fixed on everybody's end. You should be able to see it quite clearly now. So I'm going to give y'all a few minutes just for everybody to start to trickle in finally. And hopefully everybody sees me a lot clearer. So it was in 720 p, and it should be good now. So if you know people who are struggling to get in, now you should be able to let them know now it's working. So sorry about that, y'all. So now we're going to have to give about 2 to 3 minutes for everybody to kind of get back in and kind of get things back. Yeah, we back. And now we should be good to go. So can y'all comment and let me know that it's clear this time? That is clear. Can y'all hear me? Is it clear? Can y'all hear me? Is it all good? Does it look good? Does it sound good? Please kind of tell me. Some people saying it's better now. It looks good. I believe we're all set. Just making sure. Yes, we're good. Awesome. All right, y'all. So I guess I'll kind of skip real quick back to the intro as people start to trickle back in, and hopefully this will have resolved everything. And then we'll kind of go from there. All right. So real quick, y'all. Oh, everybody saying we're good. Thank you. So see what happens when I don't have a high production budget. We got to do everything in house. This is this type of stuff that happens. So now I'm playing. So welcome y'all as we're starting to I see. Yep. People are starting to come in. Cool. So again, today's episode, we're going to be talking about 1984 chapter 2 from Orwell. And now we're back in. Yes. So again, if y'all know people who are trying to watch it and was on the wrong link at this point, this is the official good link. So feel free to send it and share it with folks as we kind of get things on the wraps. Let's get real quick through the intros, and then we're going to jump into today's topic. So just a reminder, wait, there's 2 streams up though. I do hope the other stream is down because that would be problematic if it is still up. So I'm going to check real quick myself and see if the other stream is still up. And if indeed that it is, I will see if I can get rid of it so that we'd be good to go. And I'm going to see if I can delete that one. Dun, 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 dun. All right, let's see. So I am going to, which one is this one? Episode 2, book club episode 2, live stream, boom, delete. All right, so the other one, I deleted it just now. So people are going to be forced to have to flood into this one. So SX Money, you should be able to see if the second stream has been finally turned off. And now this one should hopefully be literally on. So that's my goal. And I believe that we're good to go now. All right, y'all. So now we can say, hopefully y'all can see me clearly because this camera is way too expensive for us to be watching in 720p. And yes, the greatest goated album of all time with the greatest artist of all time, Stevie Wonder. That is my favorite artist, by the way. Never got to see him live. Would be kind of cool to see him live one day. All right, y'all. So real quick announcements, and then we're going to jump into today's episode just because of the glitch and delay. I don't want to keep everybody's time. So again, now that we have a whole new video with a whole new stream, please like this one. Please comment on this one. And just a reminder, y'all, that when we get to the end of this, feel free to check out my first 5 or 6 episodes, and feel free to comment your state, your city, and then search obviously for people to see if you can start forming your own communities, as well as send it to 3 people, any one of those episodes that you think would be pertinent to them. My most recent 2 episodes were No, You Don't Deserve a Good Woman, which was primarily targeted for men, so that they can kind of do a deep dive introspection on things that perhaps they need to sharpen or tighten up on to become better versions of themselves and be better versions for the women that they may potentially want. And then also No, You Don't Deserve a Good Woman, which is, No, You Don't Deserve a Good Man, which is for women that potentially are struggling in the dating market and maybe needing to learn a little bit more information about how the majority of men tend to think and operate. All right. So with that said, real quick, subscriber count, 21,945 on the road to 1 million. And yes, y'all, have already cleared 900,000 views for this channel. So kudos to y'all because that all them views clearly ain't coming from me. So thank you. Thank you for sharing the content. Thank you for joining this journey with me. I'm just really excited, y'all. So with this new stream, for all the people that's going to watch it now and later on, I'm going to do the two announcements as far as the upcoming streams. Tomorrow, I'm going to be meeting with Dr. Will James. He is an author and a leading cultural intellectual. Highly recommend you all tune in tomorrow because the dude is very smart. I've learned quite a bit from him in terms of how he thinks, how he processes information. And best believe as I do interviews myself and some also additional things that I'm going to be doing with this channel, you're going to be introduced to a lot of really dope thinkers and cool people. Number two, on Sunday, I'm going to be meeting with Buggy Reacts Entertainment. I'll be posting a flyer probably tomorrow or Saturday, just to say it's going to be Sunday at 2 p.m. We're going to be discussing why Black men are frustrated in the dating market, marriage, therapy, and is dating still worth it for men? All interesting concepts that I think people would definitely want to know about. So next episodes that are going to be coming that I'm going to be shooting, these are the three. How to stop arguing and debating with women, how to become a master communicator, and number three, the number one secret to success in life. Those are the next three individual episodes that I'll be presenting. When I take a little time, it's usually because I'm thinking about these things, I'm researching them, I'm actually typing them up because I want to make sure that I know them very well. So again, how to stop arguing and debating with women, how to become a master communicator, and number three, the number one secret to success in life. Sorry, I had to burp. So yeah, y'all, welcome again. I'm really excited about where this channel is going. The opportunities is presented both for me and for you all to kind of hear just, I guess, my thoughts and how I kind of see the world. And then lastly, if you're not a member yet, make sure you become a member because starting in September, we're going to be introducing some really cool stuff for our members. One of which is that based on what you do starting today and all the way to the end of this month, in September, we are going to reward a member for an August member of the month. And in September, we're going to we're going to select three members who are doing the most engagement, which includes the most likes, the most comments. They're obviously subscribers and they're also members. So the clock officially starts today. Now we have 55 members and we have over 19,000 subscribers. Now remember, membership is only $2.99 a month. So we're going to be giving three prizes to our top three most engaged members. So if I had factored this in up until this point, I believe Mrs. Plum probably would have been either one or two because I've seen her everywhere on these videos. Y'all can't let Mrs. Plum outdo y'all. So make sure that y'all do exactly what I'm saying between now and the end of the month. Feel free to share the content, like it, comment. And the easy comment you can do is go to my specific individual videos, those top 5-6 episodes so far. Comment your state, comment your city, like it, and make sure that you're subscribed. And then lastly, become a member. Yeah. So if you do that, you already are eligible for the potential secret gifts that we're going to be giving to those top three candidates that we select. All right. Also, y'all, in other news, another announcement. I got a recent invite to go for my first international podcast appearance. I cannot state the country yet, and I cannot state the podcast yet until it is confirmed. But best believe once it's locked in, I will be letting y'all know. There's going to be obviously more interviews to come in terms of both who people I'm going to be welcoming into this space, who I would like to interview virtually, as well as other people who are going to be interviewing me. So I'm pretty excited about that. And we are almost done with wrapping up, preparing, and getting ready to do our live call-in shows. The people are asking, and we have to execute. So again, while you're here and as you all are trickling in, if you have not done so, make sure that you like this stream, that you're commenting and engaging with it. But most importantly, the little dollar sign, if you can do $2 for your donation, greatly appreciate it. I would love for us to stay completely independent. And my hope is that this channel builds over time and that it turns into something pretty big. Now, as I stated in multiple, episodes at this point, including our live stream, I really kind of want to run this channel just totally different in terms of how people think it should be run. Obviously, people are telling me, "Oh, you should do this, or you should do that, or you should react to this, or you should do reaction videos, or all these different ideas." And there are some good, they're pretty interesting, good ideas. But the reason why I like this channel is because I like it being free, and that the community has a role to play in what's happening. And also, I like surprising people, and I like doing things that people can't always just guess and anticipate. So every so often, one of the things you all may not realize is that one of these times that a live comes on or episode comes on, it may not be me here sitting here. It may be someone else that you may know or have never heard of. And my goal is actually to legitimately turn this into a community channel where various secret hosts will randomly pop up. And sometimes I may announce it, and oftentimes, usually, I won't. And these hosts are going to be individuals that me and the team will often select that we think are just interesting, thought leaders, shapers of culture, new and even upcoming content creators who I think have something amazing to say. Most of you didn't know I existed 2 months ago, and now you all do. What if there's people who I'm impressed with that I think you could, also support and can get their start doing this? I think this is what community is about. So I'm actually want to take my channel and actually use it for the very thing that I'm saying. I want this to be about community, about growth, about a diversity of thought, diversity of voice. So if it's me talking all the time, how diverse is that? So I have to be somebody who's trying to actually live it. So yeah, that's in the works. I already have identified almost a handful of people that I'm thinking I want to do this with, and just kind of making sure that they're prepared, because you all are kind of tough judges when it comes to what we got to say behind these microphones, and what arguments we should have made, or certain statements, or logical deduction, and all this other. It's very interesting to see y'all be brutal sometimes with how we do this thing. But that's going to be one of the cool ideas that I think is something that the community is going to love, enjoy. And as we bring these people in, my only thing is that y'all be fair to these people. That, listen, I'm built differently. I can take it all, the good and the bad, the negative comments. But if these people are new, just kind of welcome them with open arms, and best believe if they're here for a reason. And I think just be open to them the way you've been open with me. You didn't know I existed at the beginning and the top of this year, and now you all are showing up and showing support. And I think that the people I'm going to be selecting, I think that they have something very important and interesting to say. Basically, they're just out of the box thinkers. And I think that they are, like me, students of the revolution. So, again, September, we're going to be announcing our top 3 engagement subscribers slash members. You have to like, you have to comment, you have to be a subscriber, and ideally, you need to be a member. So if you are a member and undoing those other 3 things, you're already in great shape for being selected. So the more videos you're doing it on, heck, you may even stand out if you do your own reaction videos, clipping some of the stuff that all the clips that I've already have up. Take one of these clips if you want. Feel free to remix it, add your own spin to it, and just make sure you tag this channel. That's how we'll see it. So tag Ask a Brother if you want to remix it. We're just going to be watching and seeing when this episode ends. We are going to be watching the clock in real time and starting to see who can do the most between now and August 31st. And since my birthday is almost at the end of the month, we're going to see it as a really awesome birthday gift to just see how engaged all of the subscribers and supporters really are at this time. All right, y'all. So I think that's pretty much it in terms of most of the announcements. So hit that like button if you haven't. Feel free to comment. We're up to 55 current members since the memberships became eligible a couple weeks ago. Members have the special emoji. So if you are a member, please make sure you use the emoji so that people can see what they look like. And like I said, soon the members are going to be the first ones that are going to be introduced to exclusive gifts long before we're even making it public to everyone else. This will include all kinds of memorabilia, interesting things that are going to be on the memorabilia. And then over time, what's given to you all for free will be something that will be sold, definitely not expensive, to the rest of the public. So if you're not a member, make sure that you become one now or soon after this. All right, y'all. 21,000 subscribers, over 900,000 views for the channel views, which is insane, by the way. Make sure you comment on the top 5, 6 episodes I've released of my individual content so far, your state, your city. If you're in Spain or Germany, like some people have, make sure you type in your country and city or locality. Yep. And then the next 3 episodes will be how to stop arguing and debating with women, how to become a master communicator, and the number one secret to the success in life. So if you haven't hit that super chat, which is the little dollar signs, make sure you hit it. If you could donate anything during the stream, we'll greatly appreciate it. At $2 or $3 is always more than welcome. And like I said, there will be in the future some secret host. Tomorrow I'll be interviewing Dr. Will on my channel. And then for Buggy Reacts Entertainment, he'll be interviewing me on his channel on Sunday. So, as many of you have known, or many of you now know, the guest that I was referencing was Fresh from Fresh and Fit. That was who I met with recently this week as we shot on Tuesday night, which explains why I got in late yesterday and I was super exhausted and did not have the mental or emotional capacity to be able to keep up, literally, with just the pace of the schedule. So I just decided to move the book review live wise to today. So with that said, we're going to jump underway. But I'm actually not going to skip over that because I've seen quite a few comments in some of the episodes, or particularly some of the clips we've started releasing today. I just wanted to speak to it briefly. So these recent controversial appearances with Pearl and with Fresh from Fresh and Fit, um, it's very, very clear some of you are not happy with the fact that I've appeared on these 2 platforms. And I'm going to speak to that. And I hope that after I speak on it, you'll understand why I did it. And hopefully you'll see how it relates with this book and many of the things that I've been kind of pointing out about your relationship with truth. Um, it seems like, and I've noticed that for quite a few of you, you seem to support, your support is equated with total behavioral and thought compliance with you, which is very interesting to me. This idea that, like, oh, I'll support you, but you have to behave and think just like me in every way, shape, or form. And if all of a sudden, and welcome y'all, welcome. If if you talk to the wrong person or if you go on the wrong platform, I can't support you anymore, kind of thing. Based on the first chapter, what we've been reading, first and second chapter of this, many of you maybe are starting to pick up the idea that you all, maybe you don't realize that you're starting to sound like the thought police that's referenced in this book. The thought police, the individuals who kind of regulate how everyone else is to think and to move and to speak. In the book, those individuals were supporting the totalitarian, authoritarian, and fascist government. And I mean, well, think of this for a second. If I am indeed a descendant of a slave, my last name is James, which probably wouldn't have been my name had I not been born here or raised somewhere else and my people group wasn't brought here. Well, it's kind of interesting that you think a black man who's supposedly free isn't quite as free because he's apparently not allowed to associate with whom he wants to. Be very, very careful and always be introspective before you try to dictate how other people should live, how other people should be, and how other people should think and how other people should speak. Just be very, very, very mindful of that, because the very things that I'm pointing out in many of the episodes and the concept of this show is to get us to start to think about many of the things that we take for granted. Are we controlled? And are we trying to control others? Welcome, Babajid. Hello, Jeff. Thank you so much for the hard work for get $10 for getting this program together. Are non-American African residents of the U.S. allowed to put their state? Yeah, absolutely. If you are international, if you are abroad, feel free to put your state in your city and make sure that when you put it on these other, and we will ship internationally as well. So don't think that this is limited to just the states. This is a global community, and we will, if you are eligible and we run the numbers and see who's done what. If you are in Spain, we are going to ship the gifts to Spain. If you are in Belarus, if you are in South Africa, if you are in Berlin, we will ship it there. This is open to all. So yeah, back to the quick thing in terms of my most recent appearance on Fresh with Fresh and Fit. My stance in relationship with trust is that it's not trust, sorry, truth is that truth should be taken wherever you're allowed to take it. And if they have a big audience and I believe the things that I'm sharing is true, you would rather truth not go in certain places and spaces because you don't like the people who own the table and the cameras. Yikes. So yeah, so just kind of be mindful of that. Don't try to tone and thought police over here. Not on this side of the internet. You can do that on your personal stuff. You can do that on your personal page. But here, this is where we are allowed respectfully to be able to disagree. We're allowed to think. We're allowed to question. We're allowed to ask. That's literally the purpose. We're allowed to contribute. But when you try to kind of control me, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of what this platform and channel is supposed to become. So don't be the living version of 1984 in 2025, where you're functionally acting like the very people who are the foot soldiers for an authoritarian government. I think that Pearl and Fresh and Fit and many others that I'm going to work with have interesting perspectives. They have voices. They don't agree with me on everything, and I don't agree with them on everything. But the idea that if I didn't go on all of these different people's platforms who I don't all agree with on everything, do you think you all would be talking to me or knowing me now? Probably not. So amazing how when I was brought into platforms and spaces that maybe people thought I shouldn't, other people heard my message and now we're all here. So that's kind of how I approach it. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're not always the happiest with who's around me per se. If they're not espousing anything that's super crazy or ridiculous, especially in the moment when I'm there, but they allow me to speak and give my views and thoughts and what I perceive to be true. That's what I'm hoping to do, and I'm planting seeds in whatever community and group and audience that I'm presented before. So that's the goal. So, if you're like, well, I can't support you because you ain't got to finish the sentence. Deuces. We'll see you next time. This is for people who are mentally at the next step. It goes from I only think about myself to now I'm thinking about others. And now I'm hoping that myself and others can grow and grow and learn and learn. So just kind of putting that out there for food for thought. If you were one of those people who tends to comment and tries to police others, my hope is that you stop trying to do that and that we try to become better with that. And even thinking about that, you got to realize, and I've seen mostly men, which is interesting, especially with Fresh and Fit, talking about how much they felt I shouldn't be on Pearl and Fresh and Fit. And I just wonder, because I've asked this question before, are you being led by your logic and reason in that moment when it comes to truth that's being shared on those platforms, or are you being led by your emotions? Are you functionally being led and pushed and sounding and reflecting more like a male feminist and a male liberals in 2025 who's arguing more from a place of emotional appeal than necessarily logic and reason? You got to know that the truth matters more than who's sitting across the camera, who's sitting next to me while the truth is happening, right? I hope you. Oh, welcome. And thank you, Imperfect IQ, with the $20. Thank you for that. Respect the hard work. How you've been putting in lately. Much needed voice in the day and age. Show your work. Thank you for that. Thank you for that flex. Appreciate that donation. And then number two, when you look at that episode I just did with Fresh and Fit, well, Fresh specifically, are you able to actually appreciate that it was like a group of black men and women from various backgrounds being able to come together, talk about like touchy topics like standards, preferences, truth, value in the dating marketplace, while still being able to hear and respect each other? Because this has often been told, even in the comments, well, he can't do that in person. He can't do that with on a live stream. He can't do that on a call-in show with women. Well, I just did it in person with 5 black women sitting around me. So maybe there is a place for truth. Maybe there is a place for truth. Maybe there is a place for healthier communication styles and modeling what it is that we should be doing on podcasts and platforms when we're talking to each other, not at each other. So the fact that I was able to do that, and when I last checked, it was almost 45,000 people had watched it on YouTube, let alone the almost 80,000 that saw it on Rumble. So while you're getting caught up in the platform, I'm getting caught up in the truth that things are broken, that things are messed up, and we need to kind of very quickly come together and start figuring out how to do life together versus being lost in the tactics of those that want us to stay divided. Um, so that's kind of why I did it. So yeah, I know that that's not always what people want to hear, but my view and lens is maybe the truth is a hard thing to cling to because it hurts when we're trying to get near it. Every time we're getting close to the truth, it seems like there's always some excuse for why we have to run. So, just kind of be mindful that, like, in the moment when you're watching something, how it sounds is always second to, is it true? How it looks is always second to, is it true? Who's around while the truth is happening is always second to, is it true? I want us to start thinking that way politically, educationally, socially, even emotionally. Is it true? So, we're going to now jump into the book. So, welcome as everybody else is continuing to come in. So, real quick, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you have not done so. We are now going to jump into chapter 2. And if you have not hit that dollar sign to give $2 or $3 or more, please do so before the end of this live. And I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. So, like I said, 21,000 plus followers, over 900,000 channel views. We have a live tomorrow. I have an interview on Sunday. I have 3 episodes lined up that's coming soon. I'm busy, busy, busy. I have an international podcast appearance potentially coming soon. When I confirm that, you all will be the first to know. Welcome, thank you, XX Money Makers, for the $5. I think it's because of people are tired of the grifting that they're afraid that you'll end up the same. Understandable, but I'm here. I'm here. And just keep in mind that, like, it seems like between, and that's fair. I think that is a legitimately fair critique. But with that said, at least know that it's kind of hard that you can ever guess and predict the future in many respects. But I'll say this: when you're bringing truth to areas you're not allowed to. And thank you, the new geeks, for $5. I stopped watching Pearl and FNF ago, but no matter the platform, men go where they're needed. Much appreciated for your work. Thank you. That's the goal. And then and also Red Sigma $2 for the great message. Thank you. So yeah, the reality is, I bring the truth where I can, and I go where the truth is and take it with me. So when you have that lens, it functionally doesn't matter where you're going, who's around. If the truth is the truth, it just needs to be said. And that's the standard I'm going to try to hold myself to. And when I fail, I'm trying to be the first one to own it and acknowledge it, and then also bring it with me wherever I go. So yeah, that's my goal. That's literally my goal, is to bring truth to all the areas that seemingly we're not allowed to. Um, and that includes the platforms that everybody thinks we're not allowed to. So yeah, I hope that that was helpful as an explanation. Of course, it doesn't mean everyone's going to see this or everyone's going to agree or everyone's going to care, but at least I would like to bring it to the attention for the same reason certain people said, I believe 2, 3 weeks ago, you shouldn't speak on this topic or that topic. I'm going to speak on whatever topic I want. And I'm going to go on whatever platform I want to that allows me to. And I'm going to welcome anybody that I think would be helpful to this space. And my hope is that the challenge is that you start to separate the truth and the message from the person and whether you like them or not. Because if you can do that, then you're less likely to be controlled with your feelings and emotions. Thank you, Ron Scooter, for the $10. When we are secure within ourselves, we are not threatened by open and honest dialogue. Yes, literally. Yes, that's it. That's it. Like, I just think I'm freer than I was in the past. I think I think I'm at a level of freedom that a lot of people around me are still striving to experience and get to, and I'm at a place of freedom where I'm genuinely happy. I'm genuinely happy for who I am and the man that I'm becoming, and the relationship that I'm having with trying to hold on to and cling to the things that I believe to be true. And if you end up feeling better in life because you don't feel like you're constantly walking around on eggshells trying to be something that you're not. So, with that said, let us jump into chapter 2 from 1984 from Orwell. If you have your books, if you have your PDFs, if you have your audiobooks, well, you can't follow along with the audiobooks, but you get the gist. If you have your books, feel free to pull it out if you like. And I'm going to jump into chapter 2 and read some interesting quotes that kind of stood out to me and give a little commentary on kind of what it is that I'm thinking. And then lastly, Eric Ward, thank you for the $5. Really, really thank you. Thank you. All right. So with chapter 2, if you can recall, our main character at one point, he, in chapter 1, Winston, he was, secretly kind of writing in a diary and journal about what his experience and thoughts were about the system, the government, the society that he was kind of stuck and trapped in, and how it sucked, right? And how everyone was functionally stifled and always kind of semi scared in terms of just being able to be themselves, be free. The idea of freedom of speech was a no-no. The idea of freedom of thought was a no-no. There was some things called thought crimes, and they constantly were under surveillance. And it was just a horrible, horrible way of living. And welcome all of you who just recently came in the last 10 minutes. Please feel free to donate. If you can, hit the dollar sign and donate whatever it is that you feel that you can contribute. My hope and goal is that one day this channel I'll be able to survive off of, and if I can, I would love to be able to honestly shoot this Monday through Friday, every single day, recording something, releasing something, and engaging with you all as often as possible. And if you've come in the last 10, 15 minutes and didn't hear my announcements, one of the clear surprises is going to be in the future. One of these times you're going to log in and it's going to be a different host. And it's going to be people that I think are interesting, different. They are thought leaders. They are students of the revolution. And these are people who are pushing the envelope of trying to bring to what I'm doing here to the mainstream. These will be new content creators. These will be people who have been very well known and established. My hope and goal is that this channel legitimately turns into a community of thought and thinking. And, as I bring more and more people in, my hope and goal is that all of us are constantly in the state of learning, of growing, and becoming better men and women. So when I bring these guests in, just please, please show them love. If the criticisms y'all be throwing at me and saying I'm crazy, I don't know anything, he's gay, he's this, if you can, please don't do that towards them. That's the one thing that I ask, is that when they do get welcome into this space, let's treat this space as a little bit more sacred. And at the same way that me and the 5 Black women and the other gentlemen did on Fresh's platform, no matter how controversial you all think that it is, we showed respect. We listened, and truth was allowed to be spoken. And I want this to be that type of environment. So when these new surprise hosts and guests come, just please try your best to just respect them, hear them out, and feel free to support them if you like what it is, the ideas that it is that they're bringing. But best believe, if I'm selecting them, then they probably have something very good and interesting worth hearing and listening to and sharing. All right. So with chapter 2, with Winston, Private Nobody, thank you for the $5. Keep up the great work. All right. So Mrs. Parsons, this was his neighbor, and she was the wife of his neighbor as well. And the initial thing is, it said it was Mrs. Parson, the wife of the neighbor on the same floor. Mrs. was a word somewhat disconsonanced by the party. You were supposed to call everyone comrade. That's a very, very small, subtle part of the book when you think about it, but huge ramifications. They couldn't use Mrs. anymore to describe an older woman who was a mother. They were kind of trying to use this level of uniformity to keep everyone with the same certain type of title. And it was almost the erasure of Mrs. from a descriptive title. And now I think about, in comparison to what we kind of are dealing with now, there's functionally started to be somewhat of erasure of what it actually means to be a woman over the last handful of years, it seems. An erasure. Something that we all grew and knew and just intuitively understood. Now it's like they're trying to erase our memory with that. And it's like, and people, are you sure, Jeff? Well, what's a woman? What's a woman? When I think about that, when you think about that for a second, that's not a question that anybody ever had to think about or ask 10 years ago. What's a woman? So in this book from back then, where they were erasing terms like Mrs. and everyone's now has to be referred to in the same way, we're now at a stage where people publicly cannot say out loud in many spaces on social media, in the workplace, in various settings. Everybody is scared now. Most people are scared now to just simply say, what is a woman? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong, but it seems kind of extreme when you think about it. And when it comes to the policing of language and what we are, and thank you, Buggy, for the $10 blessings. Can't wait to see you on Sunday. Um, are there other things we're also not allowed to speak on? I think you all know what those things are. Are we allowed to say out loud that certain the acts of state sanctioned violence, are we not allowed to say publicly whether or not we think, though, if we say that those things are wrong or immoral, are we suddenly called extremists? If a black person critiques the black community for toxic or problematic things within our culture community, are we labeled as self-hating? Are women allowed to critique the pro-choice movement, or are they called self-hating, men-centered women who's thinking against their own interests, who are idiots? Hmm. Interesting. Thank you, the Michelle Experience. Thanks for posing these topics in a way that allows people to hear them without immediately defending. Excuse me. Keep up the great work. 1984 is super relevant. Yeah, I think it's relevant. What's a woman? Are we witnessing in real time over the course of our phones and on the internet the crimes against humanity and not allowed to say that it's immoral in the crime? As a black man, am I actually truly allowed to critique other black people without being self-hating? And are women that point out things that women do wrong, or even having a criticism about the pro-choice movement, are they shunned and criticized into submission and silence? Aren't they called pick-me's if they ever say anything that goes against the sisterhood? I don't know. The erasure of language. Let's be mindful if we're the ones that are doing that. Uh, Further on, few paragraphs down, it said Parsons, meaning the husband of Mrs. Parsons, was Winston's fellow employee at the Ministry of Truth. And he was a faddish but active man of paralyzing stupidity and mass imbecile of enthusiasms, one of those completely unquestioning, devoted drudges on whom, more even than the thought police, the stability of the party depended. Thought police. The stability of the party depended on those who functionally acted and operated like the thought police. Who's a part of the thought police in our culture and society today? Aren't aren't they those that try to police those in those areas I'm talking about? Where you're not allowed to vote a certain way, you're not allowed to support certain things, you're not allowed to question certain things, that you have to vote a certain way, that you have to submit to the current cultural edict of, well, now we don't know what truth is in this areas anymore, kind of thing. It's weird. But notice that he said that even more so than the official thought police, it was those mindless sheep who just went along with whatever the new narrative was. That was what kept, that's what the party's stability was hinged on. It was hinged on the compliance and the acceptance and the unquestioning loyalty and refusal to practice critical analysis with those who have the leverage of power and wealth that can influence society. That, mm, the unwillingness to question anything. Trust the science. Trust the experts. You didn't go to school for that, so you can't speak on that. You can't do your own research. That sound familiar? Mm. How's that working out for us? Are are we better with our health? Are we better with our education? Are we better with our political process than many other countries, many other westernized countries around the world? Yes or no? So, with all this trust in institutions made up of human beings and individuals who have to work, who have to make money, and who have to make profits, we're apparently never allowed to question the sacred cow of science or the political experts or the economists. This level of elitism is, I think, crippling us intellectually. Where all of a sudden, somebody said, Ron Scooter said, blind dogmatic loyalty. I see it in my own community. I'm going to vote for whoever's black. What? Well, she's a woman, so she has to get my support. Huh? What color their skin is and what's in between their legs is sufficient? That's it? Not their ideals, their ideas, their experience? No. Oh my. How how low are we, man, when it comes to this stuff? And then what happens with the party is so good at convincing people to function this way. They functionally act like societal super soldiers, where they're constantly the compliance and thought police. And one of the clearest things they'll do is try to shame you and stifle you and isolate you into submission to the party or the system. Fascinating stuff, man. Fascinating stuff. Let's continue. Um, the Parsons had a 10-year-old son. And as we read in chapter 1, they talked about how it was the women, the liberal women really, and the children who were the most susceptible to the propaganda, the slogans, and doing the bidding of those in power. Most susceptible. And the 10-year-old, he said, as he yelled to Winston, "You're a traitor. You're a thought criminal. You're a Eurasian spy. I'll shoot you. I'll vaporize you. I'll send you to the salt mines." Suddenly, other kids joined in and they kind of roundabout started stating the same thing. And you skim further down, he says to his mother, why he was somewhat playing, but then he says, why can't we go see the hanging? Because in this culture, in this society, when people got out of line, the government was within every right to treat them how they saw fit, to punish them as a public display. Kind of similar to Jim Crow when they hung people that look like me for breaking the rule or law or being accused of something that perhaps they didn't even do. And when you saw the pictures of black bodies swinging in the tree and on the ground, you saw white faces, both adults and children. He said, why can't we go and see the hanging? Roared the boy in his huge voice. Want to see the hanging, want to see the hanging, chanted the little girl still camping around. Who have you been taught to hate? Who have you been taught to dismiss? dehumanize. This most recent election, when people felt like some people won and some people lost. Although I don't know that any of us quite necessarily won or lost per se. Um, what were the things that those who felt like they lost, what were they saying? What were they saying on social media? What were they saying about those they wish would be deported? What were they saying about the Arab community and what they felt they deserved? What were they saying about black men that was expecting more this election cycle because they felt like they'd been sidelined for years in the political process and nobody cared about their unique needs and challenges? How easily we become the very things we claim to hate in our enemies. Inspired Truth Broadcast, I recall but didn't notice the removal of gender in 1984. Good point. Yeah. Thank you for that. And if you want to know how subtle it was, if you could recall in Butler, Pennsylvania, during the supposed assassination attempt against our now sitting president, but at that time, presidential candidate, what was said by those who hate that man or hate the Democrats or hate conservatives? What was said? Dang it, they missed just a few more inches to the right. I know I'm not the only one that heard that and saw that in the text messages, in the emails, in the exchanges in the workplace, on social media and memes. We wouldn't even be dealing with this if he just didn't miss. Sound familiar? If you don't vote for me, you're not black. Who said that? Ooh. Yikes. Thank you, Town Business, Sports, and Entertainment for the $3. I just don't believe in voting. Everybody can believe whatever it is they want to believe in. I do think that voting has a role to play in how it affects us to a degree. I think I'm just learning to believe more in this, in terms of whatever it is I'm trying to do for myself and my family. And I hope that with Booker T. Washington and the debate between Booker T. and W.E.B. Du Bois about how the black community should be functioning and dealing with the political process. One thought philosophically that we should be trying to integrate into the system and change it. And the other felt like we should prioritize independence, political, economic, being able to build up and maintain and protect our own in hopes that we would be better represented and treated in the political space because we had all that we needed to be self-sufficient. And I think most of us, people that look like me, post-King, are starting to reevaluate the political process of this thing we call the Democratic Republic, that is the U.S. government, so to speak. I don't know. So just some interesting things to think about. Are we becoming that which we hate? Let's continue on. With those children, he thought that wretched woman must lead a life of terror. Another year, 2 years, and they will be watching her night and day for symptoms of unorthodoxy. Nearly all children nowadays were horrible. What was worst of all was that by means of such organizations as the Spies, they were systematically turned into ungovernable little savages, and yet this produced in them no tendency whatever to rebel against the discipline of the party. On the contrary, they adored the party and everything connected with it. The songs, the processions, the banners, the hiking, the drilling of dummy rifles, the yelling of slogans, the worship of Big Brother. It was all sort of a glorious game to them. All their ferocity was turned outwards against the enemies of the state, against the foreigners, the traitors, the saboteurs, the thought criminals. It was almost normal for people over 30 to be frightened of their own children. And with good reason, for hardly a week passed in which the Times, I believe the newspaper, did not carry a paragraph describing how some eavesdropping little sneak child hero was the phrase generally used, had overheard some compromising remark and denounced his parents to the thought police. Hmm. What level of propaganda and indoctrination have we been under? That the idea that because somebody thinks differently than us, we can end and cut off 10, 15, 20 plus year relationships with people who have been through thick and thin with us. They've been with us on our hospital beds. They've given money. They've let us sleep on their couches. They've shown up and showed us love in so many different ways and capacities. And they convinced you that because they didn't vote for a politician that you don't know and doesn't know you exist, because they voted differently, because they think differently about how to solve things on an economic level differently, how to solve the immigration issue, because they're thinking differently than you. They have convinced you that those who are different and think different are the enemies of progress and culture and society. And it doesn't matter the history you have with them, they are the enemy. And the truth is not in them. And if they say something that sounds like it's true, you have to convince yourself, because it's coming from them and coming from the side that you don't support, that, well, it has to be wrong. What level of propaganda and indoctrination? You're not showing up to holiday events as your parents get older. Really? Not because they abused you, not because they traumatized you. Friends that have known you since you were kids, you're now cold to them. Sounds like these children that are willing to turn in their own parents. Y'all don't remember not too long ago when people were calling the authorities because people weren't wearing masks? I think we're a lot closer to this reality than perhaps we all attempted to realize. Thank you, Linux, our racer. Keep up the good work of uncovering the truth so that Black men and women can move back towards the union that underpins a healthy society. We are behind the eight balls, a group laid out by Dr. Claude Anderson. Shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson. And must begin the work together. Yeah. Who do you need to look? Which people have you distanced yourself from for no good reason? Which people have you turned your back on? Who have you judged prematurely? Have you given your emotions over to people who only need you for your votes? Hmm. Interesting. As stated in chapter 1, they also stated again, war is peace, freedom is slavery, and ignorance is strength. Everything just seems backwards. And truth is relative, it seems. Later on, towards the end of the chapter, he says he wondered again for whom he was writing the diary, for the future, for the past, for an age that might be imaginary. Later on, towards the end, it says he went back to the table, dipped his pen, and wrote, to the future or to the past, a time when thought is free, when men are different from one another and do not live alone, to a time when truth exists and what is done cannot be undone. From the age of uniformity, from the age of solitude, from the age of Big Brother, from the age of doublethink, greetings. He was already dead, he reflected. It seemed to him that it was only now, when he had begun to be able to formulate his thoughts, that he had taken the decisive step. The consequences of every act are included in the act itself. Thought crime does not entail death. Thought crime is death. I have 2 points that I want to say in relation to that. Actually, 3. The first of which is censorship and purity culture, political purity culture. I believe, and I will do an episode on censorship and what that looks like today, and why I think that it ends up doing the very thing that it tries to stifle. It ends up doing the very thing that it hopes not to do. Um, we're functionally moving and acting like the people in this book, so much to the degree where I think that we don't realize how much we have been censored and pushed to these moral, social tests constantly, where we're always under surveillance. And it's not because of technology, but it's just by the nature of the people around us. Um, I think censorship and purity culture goes completely against freedom of speech and freedom of thought. And I think censorship and purity culture, when left unchecked, ends up feeding in on itself and destroying communities, destroying men and women relationships, destroying unity, man. Like, seriously, community. I do. I really been reflecting a lot about the state of things. And obviously, I mentioned, and I often talk a lot about the Black community just because I feel so much sorrow when I think about what we used to be during Reconstruction, prior to Jim Crow, or well, yeah, prior to some of the things that kind of happened to us. And I always wonder, whose dream have we seen more of in culture and society, especially in my community? Dr. Martin Luther King's dream, or the dream of the founder of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger? Whose dream have we seen and experienced more of recently? Dr. King's or Margaret Sanger's? To close out, y'all. And Donald J actually peeped that with dark crime is a real thing happening in the UK as we speak. For real, for real. People getting arrested for all kind of crazy, stupid stuff. Post, non-threatening. It's a disagreement about certain causes or the government, and they're arrested. Westernized country. In the last 72 hours, um, I had 2 very interesting encounters with 2 gentlemen that work in security randomly, both here in Philadelphia today and 2 days ago in Miami while I was there for um, the show. Randomly, just ran into these guys. And upon talking to them and getting to know them and realizing they were in security, I don't think that I believe in coincidences anymore. It seems like the more that I'm talking about truth, the more random people are kind of coming into my life that appear to make sense and that I may potentially need in the future. I don't know what exactly that means, considering I'm not used to just randomly walking around and outside and just, oh, here's my security services, here's my card. That just happened in the last week, literally, twice. Wasn't looking for it, didn't look it up, didn't search for it on Google. And the first guy didn't even, he just walked up to me because I was wearing my Philly sweatshirt. And he said, man, I'm from Philly too. Went to another spot and a random guy was like, you got a podcast thing, right? Right? I think you might need security. And this is my info. That's literally what happened. Like I said, I don't believe in coincidences, but as I'm sharing more and more what I truly believe is true, I'm noticing that things like that have been happening more frequently. Not just the security aspect of it, but people who are connected to all types of interesting platforms, spaces, um, powerful people. I can't even say some of the things that's been made aware to me in the last 2 weeks. Um, just strange. Literally had a conversation with a guy this week who has conversations with the White House quite often. Just happened. So I don't know exactly what all this means, but I do notice that I'm much more aware of these things happening as I'm becoming more and more true to myself and more true with you all. The only thing that I'm realizing is that it seems like the closer it is that I'm walking towards truth, the lonelier it gets. So I'm grateful that you all are at least here. I think about all the icons and civil rights leaders and pioneers of truth and how they all met their untimely ends in many different ways, for a variety of different reasons, of course. And I would never put myself on their level, but I do know that the truth still means something. And the difference between me doing this right now and them at that point, I think, is that I have the ability to learn from them. And I have the ability to recognize that this movement that I'm pursuing and doing and pushing um, is something that I'm not leaving up to just me. I'm just attempting to sow seeds, sow seeds of curiosity, seeds of wonder, seeds of intellectual curiosity, with the hopes that you all begin to find out way more than I know and take this in directions I couldn't imagine for the betterment of all of us. And that you really, really strive to push yourself mentally, emotionally, psychologically, with your skills, with your body, with your health. Stop getting lost with the division. Lean in heavily with seeking to grow, to learn, to adapt, to become better, to recognize when people are lying to you, trying to manipulate you, and see how we can fight or escape whatever it is that's heading our way. So, no, I don't believe in coincidences, and I don't believe it's an accident that you're here. But my hope is that you all replicate what I'm doing here in your own lives and spaces with the people you love and people you know, and even people you don't know. And my hope is seriously that today's episode was grateful. I mean, sorry, I'm grateful, but I hope that today's episode was helpful, honestly. So to summarize, that was chapter 2. I hope it was helpful. Feel free to read it again and kind of take note of the things I kind of noted and look for things that maybe I've even missed on. So, like I said, I gave a whole bunch of announcements, both in terms of my episode tomorrow with Dr. Will, Buggy on Sunday. Um, new the 3 episodes that I'm going to be announcing. I'll actually read those off again for those that maybe missed it, which are how to stop arguing and debating with women, how to become a master communicator, and the number one secret to success in life. And like I said, those who are super engaged with the likes, the comments, going through the top 5 or the main 5 episodes, 5, 6 episodes that I've released individually. Comment, like. You can feel free to comment your state and your city. Start locating each other and trying to build virtual or in person lives together. Learn from each other. Um, and let's move. Let's continue on this road towards a million of us being here one day. And I just hope that this small thing that I recently started this year just morphs into something I can't even imagine. And my honest to God hope is that it turns into a legitimate communal thing to where maybe there's a week or two when I go on vacation, but you're still having somebody else sitting on this mic and cooking, still cooking, still showing love, still doing their thing to promote love and growth and introspection and truth. And if this turns into a real communal thing, and these people come on and you get to know them, well, now it's more of us who think like this. Maybe there's more book clubs. Maybe there's more joint communal conversations. So I appreciate y'all. I genuinely, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. And I just hope that I'm doing some type of good. That I'm getting us to start thinking about each other for real, versus putting each other in boxes. Um, I want truth to be the most important thing that we're trying to cling to, while we're also trying to cling to each other. And I hope that this is just my small way of being able to help us get there. Um, so yeah, the top five, or not top five, the 5 or 6 individual episodes I've done so far. Pick the one that you think the people in your life need to watch and read, and please send it to them. 3 people tonight, or when you see this. Pick pick 3 people in your life who don't know that this stuff exists, this channel exists, and send it to them and tell them to subscribe. And hopefully next time they're here, I'll tell them to do the same thing. And eventually, whether it's me or somebody else behind this microphone, more and more people will be reached. More and more people will start to read again. We'll start to that childlike curiosity. I want us to tap back into that, and that childlike optimism. That maybe we're not completely cooked. Maybe we still got a shot. And whether it's here or us all relocating somewhere else, hey, I'm not as scared about that if I know that there's other people who's on the journey of trying to better their lives and their families' lives as well. So, I hope that y'all like this. I hope that y'all enjoyed this. So I'm gonna go through a few super chats, and then we will kind of close out. See if there's anyone in particular who I have not read through. Most of these I actually have gone through. Now that I think about it. Buggy, I read. The Mitchell Experience. The Real Enigma, $10. Thank you for that. Peace and wellness to you, brother. Pay attention to the signs when they show. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that gift. And like I said, y'all, if y'all have not, become members, I highly recommend that you do, so that you'll be the first to be eligible to get access to gifts that we're soon going to be releasing, secret gifts, and also that major announcements that'll be coming into work soon. So thank y'all for your time and allowing me to be with y'all this evening. Get y'all rest, eat y'all dinner if you haven't, and enjoy time with your family and friends. And tell somebody who you haven't told today that you love them. And I hope that this was a good enough episode for you. And I hope that I get better with the IT part, and that we continue to build this thing called community. Enjoy the rest of y'all evenings and days. And I'll see y'all in a little bit. So Godson out, so to speak. And I'll see y'all tomorrow when I meet with Dr. Will James. All right, y'all. Take care.